our little angel. Nobody would ever hurt her that we know of would ever hurt her.
Okay.
Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Can't Stop, Won't Stop Warriors on YouTube. If you haven't already done so, please click my logo below and subscribe. It's free, and this is a great way to help get Jennifer's story to more people. Maybe somebody is going through a similar situation. Maybe somebody is listening and is in an abusive relationship or is witnessing abuse and doesn't know what to do, what their options are, and maybe what their consequences could be for not reporting it. Please like and subscribe. In episode 10, you heard two bully cops tell Jennifer MEDZIE that Cody Lauder's stepmom secretly planted nanny cams in their trailer so that she could watch how they were treating Sophia. We're still waiting on that video footage. And McGinnis and Ronan say that they hate liars and that they will not lie to Jen. And in return, they expect Jennifer not to lie to them. Okay, nanny cams and fingerprints on her bones. Still waiting on those results too. It's an absolute disgrace the way Pennsylvania State Police treated Jennifer MEDZIE. Today, you will hear Cody's first and final interview at the Pennsylvania State Police Clearfield Station. He spoke with Trooper David Patrick for 1 hour and 7 minutes. Y'all compare that to Jennifer's 8.5 hours at the barracks being brutally interrogated. Cody was never read his Miranda rights, which means anything he says may be inadmissible in court.
Okay, today is November the 20th, 2013. The time is 15:39. I'm Trooper David Patrick, and I'm here with Cody Lauder. We're at the State Police Barracks here at Clearfield. Cody, let's start with you taking care of your daughter Sophia. When did she move in with you?
It was like February 14th, 15th. She was dropped off. She was staying at my dad's house originally because mine was under supervised visitations. And then after that, I got custody and she moved in with me about March. Somewhere around there, March is in there.
Okay, somewhere in March. When did Jennifer move in with you then?
Like the end of July, beginning of September, somewhere in there. Maybe middle of September. It's somewhere in there.
Somewhere around the middle of September, she actually moved in with you. And that's when she started to take care of Sophia?
Yeah.
Did she care for her before that, prior to that?
Just like in the evenings whenever I'd pick her up and I'd pick my daughter up. And then we'd both be there.
Okay. Did Jennifer ever watch her by herself prior to her moving in with you?
No.
Okay. And when you worked, what time would you start work in the morning?
Every day is different. Like some days it's not till like 10:30, 11. But most days it's 4 or 4:30, and Fridays are 5.
Okay, you start, and what time do you finish?
The latest I'm out there is like on Thursdays. I'm home by 2, and then any other times like 12, 12:30.
So between 12 and 2. Okay.
Like Mondays I'm home by Not like 9, a little after 9, quarter after 9.
Okay. Do you work 7 days a week?
Yeah.
All right. And who would watch Sophia when you were at work?
When Jen was moved in.
Prior to Jen.
She was up with my dad's and my stepmom's while I was working.
Okay, so stepmom watched her,
Yeah.
and stepmom is Brandy.
Yeah, Lauder.
Lauder, okay. After work, then, would you go pick Sophia up right away, or would you go home and take a nap? Or
I'd get showered and cleaned up and everything. That way, I didn't have to worry about doing all that when she was by herself. So I'd get showered and get a little bite to eat or something, and I'd run up and get her, or even come back down after I get her and then eat or whatever. I pretty much just shower and go up and get her, and depending like Mondays, and then what was it? Wednesdays and Thursdays she'd go to the babysitters. She went there for a few weeks.
And who was the babysitter?
It was Amber Johnston in Woodland.
Okay.
She has like her own
like
license.
A daycare?
Yeah, it's like a daycare with her license and everything.
When was that time frame? Like, we talking like in May, June?
I know it stopped whenever she moved in. She started.
When Jen moved in?
When Jen moved in and she started watching her for me, we slacked off on the daycare. And it was from that point, I can't remember how much beforehand it was.
Okay.
It was probably like a month, 2 months or so, something like that.
Okay. Now, did Sophia stay with you at night? Did she sleep there with you at night?
No.
Prior to Jen?
No, she'd go back up to my dad's like 8:30 for bed.
Okay.
Being I had to get up so early, we didn't want to wake her up in the middle of the night.
Okay. And then when Jen moved in, is that when she started actually sleeping at your trailer?
Yeah. Like all day, every day, unless my dad watched her and my mom took her.
Okay, so we're only minutes into the interview, and Cody is already mixing up his story. First, he tells Dave Patrick that Sophia moved in with him when he got custody of her in March. But according to his Facebook post, Cody gained custody of Sophia on May 20th. And then he says Sophia never stayed the night with him until Jen moved in with him at the end of September. So which is it, Cody? Did Sophia move in with you in March? Or was it May? Or the end of September?
Okay. And she started having some medical problems, right? With the eyes.
Yeah, like the raccoon eyes, like blackness around the eyes,
and what else?
It was, she got the raccoon eyes, and then she got sick. I mean, she had her occasional 2-year-old bruising, but that was just 2-year-old bruising.
Okay. And you say when she got sick, what do you mean by that?
Like when she got like the flu, and
okay,
just this like past week, or I guess it'd be the week ago.
Okay. But I want to go back to when she started getting symptoms. The raccoon eyes, and then there was also some issues with her hair falling out.
Yeah, she like started getting like alopecia or something, where like we didn't notice it at first, and it started getting worse. We kept an eye on it, and then it got worse and worse.
When did that start?
Did
that start the same time the raccoon eyes did?
A little bit after it.
So the eyes started first.
I'm thinking so, yeah.
About when was that?
Like the beginning of October.
Okay, so shortly after Jen moved in, that started?
Yeah, like right around the same time frame.
Okay. And then there was some issues with her being ill, vomiting.
Yeah.
When did that start?
It was like Tuesday, Wednesday of last week.
Okay. So that was only about a week, from Tuesday up until Friday when she had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Right. No vomiting prior to that?
Not that I can recall, no.
Okay. Did, when Jen was there, when she moved in with you, did you both take turns, like, changing her diaper and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And what about giving her baths?
We both did. Like, we'd take turns.
Okay.
Sometimes we both went back and did it.
Okay, and where would you bath her at?
Back in the bathroom by my bedroom.
Okay, there's a bathtub in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Since Jen had moved in there, did you ever notice any injuries to Sophia? Any bruising?
Well, like, besides the raccoon eyes, there was a little bit of bruising on the side of like her face right here. We didn't know what that would have came from. I don't know if she hit her head on a playpen or what, but it was like just black and blue marks.
Okay, and when was that? When did you notice that?
2 weeks ago, maybe? A week and a half, something like that.
Okay.
Before she started getting sick.
Okay, prior to her vomiting.
Yeah.
Did those marks go away? Did the bruising went away?
Yeah.
So last week you didn't see anything on her?
No, after that it went away.
Okay. Any other bruising at all? Anywhere else?
Not that I can remember, no.
Okay. Did you ever see Jen physically abuse her or, be rough with her?
I didn't see nothing, no.
Okay. How would Jen discipline her? Did you ever see her, smack her bottom? Anything physical, like discipline-wise?
I've never seen her do it, no. She always played like she always said that she was afraid to do it or whatever, but...
Would she yell at Sophia?
She'd yell at her. Sometimes like going in her peeing in her diaper or wouldn't eat or just like baby stuff.
Okay. So she would just yell at her, you never saw her...
Well, it's not like a screaming yell, just, like raise the voice maybe a little too high, but...
Okay.
Nothing like screaming at the top of the lungs or anything.
Never saw her get out of control, mad at her? Did you ever see her throw her down? Like if she would get mad at her because she peed in her diaper, did you ever see her like pick her up and throw her on the couch or anything like that?
No.
Or pick her up and throw her in the playpen?
No.
Okay. How about you? How did you discipline Sophia?
Well, she like bit me or had one of her fits that she usually has. I'd tap her on the fingers. If like she scratch or pinch or something, just tap on her fingers. That way, get her to quit doing it. And then maybe smack her just a little tat on the diaper to get her just so she realizes you're not supposed to do that. And then if she'd get too bad or she wouldn't keep listening, I would take her back and I'd sit her in a playpen or on the couch or the chair for timeout and say, well, whenever you quit being bad and quit crying and everything, you can get up or gotta come get you.
Okay.
And it was she'd only sit there for like a minute, 2 minutes, and she'd quit.
Yeah, she's only 2, so 2-year-olds don't sit still very long.
And then she'd quit and just look around, and I'd say, well, if you're done crying, you can get up. And she'd get up and start go playing, and she'd be good. You only have to do that like every other day or every once in a while. Half the time you just tell her, hey, you're going to go in timeout, and she'd listen.
Okay. The times that you smacked her, though, you smack her bottom, you're saying just a light tap.
Just like a light tap, just enough to get it.
Did you ever smack her a little harder than that sometimes on the butt?
Maybe like once in a while when she was like going out of control, maybe like really biting or something, I'd
smack her a little harder?
Not
okay.
Too
that's
hard.
Fine, there's nothing wrong with that.
Not too hard, though, I mean, she's 2 years old, she's fragile. I know enough because I helped raise my little brother and sister. I knew not to hit it too hard because break something or hurt her or do whatever.
Okay.
Scare her.
Did she always have a diaper on? Did you ever smack her bare butt?
No, it was always with a diaper.
Okay. How about grabbing a hold of her? Did you ever grab a hold of her and like set her down on the couch real hard, or?
Like sometimes I pick her up like you pick a kid up.
Where would you pick her up at?
Like underneath the armpits here, like how you normally pick up a kid. And I'd set her down, but I wouldn't do it hard. So I know jerking around and everything. You don't shake a baby and.
Right. Sometimes you're frustrated. You're mad at her because she did something bad. You might grab a hold of her quickly, maybe pick her up, and maybe not throw her down, but set her down kind of hard on the couch or something.
No. I normally put her on a chair or anything because it's nice and padding there. And I just set her down.
Okay.
And I never slam her or do anything hard.
Okay. How about in the playpen and her pack and play where she slept?
No, because whenever I laid her in there, I'd always put my hand, one hand like underneath her head and her neck, and the other under like her legs and everything. And I'd lay her down in there nice and easy because I didn't want her.
Like when she was already sleeping?
Well, even lay her down to go to sleep and everything. But when she was being bad, I'd just pick her up and she'd stand there. I'd just pick her up and set her down. She'd stand up, or then she'd sit down and cry. But when we put her in there, if she was awake, she'd just stand up until we turned around, and she'd sit down.
Okay. During one interview with Jen, she had said that there were two incidents. One where you had picked her up kind of rough, and I think she said you picked her up and kind of threw her up on your shoulder and then set her down on the couch pretty hard. Do you remember doing that?
No.
Okay.
Like, I pick her up and I hold her right here, and I
Okay.
do that right there, but it's never real quick and anything, because I feel bad if I do something like that.
Okay. She said there was another incident when you kind of put her in a playpen, kind of rough too, one time.
No,
Not that you hurt her. You know, she didn't say that you hurt her or you injured her at all, but she said there was just one time she remembered that was kind of rough when you had picked her up and put her in there because you were mad at her.
No, I wouldn't put her in a rough because I'm always afraid of the edges. I mean, I don't know if you want me to, because when you took the pictures, you seen the playpen. The edges are pretty much plastic, and up top
Yeah, there's
there
some padding there, but not
a whole lot. And I was always afraid of hitting her head on that or doing something bad, because I wouldn't ever hurt my kid.
Okay. One other incident I want to ask you about that she had mentioned something about, I'm not sure where she was at, where Sophia was, but you had put a pillow on her, in her face, pushed a pillow in her face. I don't know if she was sitting on a couch or something, and you were mad at her.
We play around, me and her both do. Like, I put a pillow in front of her, but it's just bumping her face, not
smothering her.
No,
or anything.
it's just like
you're just playing with it.
Just playing like.
And that may be what she was talking about. I'm not sure.
Like, it'd just be like right up, like not in her, like pushing on her face, just like bumping her, like hiding, and
Okay.
put it there, like set it in front of her. You know, the pillow as big as she is, and then she'd move it. I'd put it back, and
Okay. That's probably what she was talking about. Okay.
so 'cause me and her, we always did goofy stuff like that. Because she'd always say, "I see you," and I'd hide her and say, "No, you don't." And she'd move it. "I see you." Just having fun with a 2-year-old.
Right. Okay, so she started getting sick last Tuesday.
Yeah.
So she was at the doctor a few days before that.
So I'm thinking like maybe a week or so, maybe.
Okay.
Somewhere in there, because my stepmom took her because I was at work.
And what did she go to the doctor for then?
For the hair. We were figuring out
Okay.
what that was. Because we went 2 or 3 times for that, I think.
So that was kind of like the third one, like a follow-up appointment?
Yeah.
And then is that when they determined they were going to send her to Pittsburgh to have testing done?
Yeah, and that's whenever they said, go to Pittsburgh, and they're going to run more tests on that. And then I either called them or I was going to call them the next day, because by the time my stepmom told me, because she was going to make the appointment in Pittsburgh, but they told her I had to call, and by the time I talked to her, it was too late to make the appointment. And I was going to call the next day, and then we had to go to the ER beforehand, because I think it was Wednesday when she told me. Yeah, because she called. I think she called Wednesday, and then she told me Wednesday night that I had to make the appointment, being I was dad, and
Okay.
I had all of her information. I had her social security number, I think it was. I was gonna,
Okay. So then,
or maybe she called Wednesday, and I was going to call Thursday, or maybe she called Thursday. It was
somewhere
within them
around
days
there.
there, yeah.
Here, Cody, let me tell the truth. Sophia's appointment was on November 6th, and that is when the doctor made the referral to a specialist. Why, Cody? Why did Brandy Lauder wait until November 13 or 14 to tell you to call the specialist? What was the delay? Why was Sophia's appointment not a priority? Why didn't you call the specialist instead of calling Ronnie on the 14th, discussing what sounds like a drug deal? Seems like the drugs were more of a priority than your daughter's health, in my opinion. Now on to Thursday. Let's see if Cody can tell the truth about this day's activities.
Okay. So what time you got home from work? At what time on Thursday?
Like 1:30-ish, 1:35, somewhere in there.
Okay. What'd you do then? What happened then?
I just came home, got a shower, and sat on the couch, watched TV, and made sure she was all right. And my friends came up, and
Okay. What time did your friends come over?
it was maybe around 3-ish, somewhere in there.
About 3. Okay. And So from the time you get home till your friends come at 3, what's Sophia doing then? She sleeping at all, take a nap, or she playing around with you?
She naps from like 12:30 to like 2:30, depending on what time she goes to sleep. She sleeps for about 2 hours.
Okay, did she sleep that day?
Yeah.
That Thursday she napped?
Yeah.
And then she got up before your friends came?
Yeah, she was up and she ate before my friends came, and then she was fine playing around.
Okay, did she get sick at all then?
No.
Did she get sick or vomit before your stepmom came and picked her up?
Just before I think it was just before I got home she puked. That was
Right before you got home from work?
like sometime before I got...
Before noon?
Sometime before then, yeah.
Okay. So then what time does your stepmom come down and pick her up?
It was like 4:15, I want to say, because it was right after they ate dinner. Something like that. I think it was 4:15 or something like that. Somewhere in there.
Okay, then what happened?
Well, she took her up there, and like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that. Later they called me and said, hey, she's puking a couple times. She puked in the car. You better take her to DuBois to the ER.
And who told you that?
My stepmom.
Okay, she called you on the phone?
Yeah. And then I went up and picked her up, and then that's when we went to DuBois to the ER.
Okay, and who went to the ER?
Me and Jen with the baby.
Okay. So that was what time? She called you probably around 6. You said around 2 hours?
Something like that, 6:30.
6:30. And you went and picked her up, and what time did you leave to go up to the hospital then?
It was, I want to say around 7-ish maybe, because my dad had her in Clearfield at the taxidermy, and she was puking in there, and he called her and told her. And then she called me, and then on the way home, that's when she puked again. She puked in the car.
Okay.
And then by the time they got up there, I was going up. I waited for them to get home. They said, all right, we're home, so I went up and got her. And that's when we went straight to DuBois after I picked her up.
Okay. You know what time you got to DuBois?
7:30-ish maybe. Can I look on my phone?
Oh, yeah.
It still might be in there.
Sure, if you have it in there.
It still might be. I ain't sure how long it holds messages for. I might have actually cleared my phone. Because that was a while ago. No, I think it don't go back that
Okay,
far.
that's fine. But you said it was around 7:30 you got up to the hospital in DuBois. And they checked her out up there.
Yeah.
They didn't do any tests on her though, did they?
They just wrapped like a little Band-Aid type sensor thing on her thumb and hooked it in like some kind of computer thing that read her results. They weighed her. Then we went in the back and they just like listened to her and all that stuff, and they didn't do like no blood work, no x-rays or anything.
Okay. So what symptoms did she have that day and night then? Just the vomiting?
She was like pale. Her eyes were, you know, when you get the flu, your eyes like a purplish color maybe. Start getting like purple from being sick.
Like around the eyes?
Just like underneath it right here.
Underneath, okay. Is that
Like
kind of what the raccoon eyes you were describing
No,
from
it was,
weeks ago?
No, it was different than that. Like these were more like bags and like she was tired and sick. Like bags and purple, but the raccoon eyes were from like way up on the inside the whole way around to like pretty much her temples.
Okay.
It was the whole way, and it was pretty much coal black. And it scared me because I didn't know what happened there, because, you know, broken nose or whatever it was.
And what did you think happened to her?
I honestly didn't know what happened, because she did just get over like a cold before that, and I forget who it was, so maybe it's a sinus infection. I don't know.
And we're talking about weeks ago when she had the raccoon eyes,
Yeah.
right? So did you think that maybe she had fallen or got hit with something?
At that point, honestly, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if maybe it was a sinus infection, or maybe she did bump her face because in the playpen or something. But when we took her up, they didn't find anything.
Did you ever ask Sophia if she had ever hit her head or hit her nose or anything
We always
like
ask
that?
her if she did anything, but you ask her the same thing, she'll give you 6 different answers. So I asked her, I said, does it hurt? And no.
Did she ever say that she fell or hit her head?
No.
Did she ever tell you that someone hit her?
No, she couldn't like talk that good.
Did you ever think that Jen did anything to her?
I wouldn't think so, no.
But I mean, like before this, before last week.
No, I wouldn't.
Did you ever think that?
No. I wouldn't think that, no.
So you wouldn't know, you never asked Jen if she ever smacked her, or, did you ever...
I asked her, like, well, she'd tell me when she was being bad. I said, what'd you do? She said, well, I just put her on timeout. She never said if she hit her or anything like that.
And you never thought about it?
I
Thought
never
to ask her that?
I never really thought that, she would go to that extent to where she'd do it, because she always said she was afraid to hit her or discipline her or whatever.
Okay. Let's go back to Thursday night then. When you got back from I'm assuming when you left the hospital, did you go straight home?
Yeah.
Cody goes on to say what we've already heard. They go home, he changes her diaper, and he puts her in the pack and play. Then they all go to bed.
What time did you get up?
Like 4:45.
And what time did you leave to go to work?
About 5 till.
Okay, you got up at 4:45. You left. You were only up for about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and you were out the door.
Because all I got to do is put on my work clothes and walk out the door, because I only got to go right in front of my house to get to the trucks.
Okay, so you leave about 5 till 5.
Yeah.
Did you eat anything that morning?
No.
Okay.
Which I grabbed my 2 drinks out of the fridge that I always take. Well, actually, I think this week was just one. Just like a little Gatorade jug. Grabbed it out of the fridge, sat it down by the door, went back, got my phone out and shined on her to make sure she was still breathing, because I do that every morning. I check on her, make sure she's alright. Then I went out to the door, put my boots on, my coat on, and I walked out the door.
Okay. So you did check on
Yeah.
Sophia before you went out the door?
Yeah.
And you said you do that every morning?
Every morning.
Did you, in her bedroom there, do you keep the door closed, her bedroom door closed?
When she's in there, I keep it open. But if she's not in there, I keep it closed to keep the dog out.
Okay. And what was she doing when you checked on her that morning?
She was on her left side sleeping, just normally sleeping how she normally does, just a little bit of wheezing going on from being congested or whatever.
Okay, but you could hear her breathing?
I could hear her breathing. I made sure I seen her stomach and chest moving and everything.
Was she covered up with a blanket or not?
Just partially, because she's like me, she kicks it off in the middle of the night. Just like the bottom portion of her legs were still part way underneath the blanket.
Okay. And where was her head? Was her head on a pillow or on a blanket, or
no,
just laying on the...
Just laying on the mat. I don't put a pillow in there because I don't want it cocking her neck or maybe her suffocate herself in the pillow. So I know they say you're not supposed to put anything in there with them until they get like so old.
Okay, so you checked on her, she was okay, and then you left for work.
Yeah.
All right, around 5 o'clock, a little before 5.
Yeah.
And what do you take to work? Do you hop in a garbage truck right there?
Yeah. I mean, I have my gloves. I take gloves. We wear gloves. They're sitting right there with my boots. I just put my boots on, my coat on, I grab my gloves and the keys, and I'm out the door within a matter of minutes, well, seconds.
Okay, and what time did you get done working that day?
So Friday?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what time I got done because we got the phone call that she was being rushed to the emergency room. We got back to my truck and I went straight to the hospital. I didn't pay attention to what time we got back.
All right. Did you come back to the house at all prior to that morning?
From the time I got the phone call?
Yeah, from the time you left at 5 in the morning.
We go in the little truck, we pick up a little bit, and then we dump that truck in a big truck at the garage. And then we jump in another little truck, and then we go down like...
So you go back to your house.
Yeah, but I don't go inside,
You just go back to your garage and stuff is right there where your work trucks are. So you just went back there.
We get and dumped the truck we were in into one of the big trucks, because it goes into like little alleys where the big trucks can't. We dump that truck. My brother, he gets in another truck, and I get in my pickup. And we go up to Gio's, we eat our lunch, and then we proceed to go on through the route. And I park my truck down in Shawville.
Your pickup truck?
I parked my pickup down in Shawville,
Okay.
and I jump in with him in a garbage truck. Then we go down to like Frenchville, Carthage, Keywade, and
Okay. Why do you take your pickup truck with you?
that way I don't have to go to the landfill for that. He drops me
Oh,
off
your
when
brother
we're done.
goes to the landfill with
Yeah.
his garbage.
He takes it to land. Well, he drops me off, and he goes to landfill, and I go home.
Okay. And so, do you know what time it was when you got the call?
It was, man.
Yeah, sure. Who called?
Well,
you?
actually, originally my brother's girlfriend called him, and then he didn't want to tell me that something serious was happening to get me panicking and worrying, because I'm on the back of the truck hanging on while we're going down the road. So he waited till it was like real serious, where they knew what exactly was happening, and he said, "Hey, we gotta go." He says, "So fainted or something." And then I called Jen, or I texted her. I said, well, "What's going on with So fainting?" And she sent me a message describing everything. And then that's when she called me. I missed the phone call, and I called her back, and I said, "Well, what's going on?" And they said, "Well, you need to get here now. She's getting rushed to the emergency room." And that's when we turned the truck around, and we went back to my pickup.
Was Sophia still at home then when you got that call, or was she on her way to the hospital?
See, they said, well, one time they said the ambulance just left, but then by the time we got back to my truck, they said they just left and the ambulance is on the way. So sometime between I got the phone call and we were on our way back and me getting in my truck, the ambulance was leaving.
Okay. Do you still have the call in there?
What date was that? That was the
15th.
was that the 15th? It was, the first one was at 9 a.m.
That was the text message, or that was the call?
That was the phone call at 9 a.m.
Is that the one you missed?
That was the first one I missed, and I called her back at 9 a.m. because it just hung up whenever I climbed back up in the truck, because my brother, he don't answer my phone because it's locked. And as you can see right here, there's the red ones are missed and the black ones I answered.
Okay.
So I missed this one, and it's first one's at 9 a.m. And I called her back 9 a.m. And I missed two, 9:09 and 9:08. And where was it? Right here. And then I called her back at 9:12.
Is that when you talked to her then?
And that's when I talked to her, and she said, "You need to get home now. Well, come back. She's getting rushed to the yard." I knew by the time I got home, they'd already be gone. So I just went straight to the emergency room.
Okay.
I mean, sure, if the text messages are still in here, what time I originally asked her what was going on with that.
Okay, well that's fine. That's not important. We don't.
Right.
I don't need to have those. Did you talk to Jen then at the hospital about what happened?
Well, when we went back, they wanted me there being because I was dad, and they wanted her being she was there when it happened. We went back, and I explained her health problems from the prior weeks, and then Jen explained to them what happened that morning.
And what did Jen say?
She said that when she got up and she checked on her, she got her up, she went pee. Well, she asked her if she went pee in her diaper, and 2-year-olds, they don't know yes and no. She said no. She said, "So if you pee in your diaper, I smell it, don't lie to me." And then she said she started crying, like she shed a few tears, and then she put her on the potty and she went pee. Then she put her pull-up on, her socks on, her sweatpants on. Then she got one arm through her shirt, and then she was putting the other one through, and then she fainted. Sophia, the baby, fainted. And then that's when she picked her up and laid her on the couch, called my stepmom. She said, my stepmom explained to me that she didn't sound, it was real panicky. It's like something emergency happened. Like she just explained to her, like she fell asleep. From her point of view, I can't vouch and say that's exactly what it was because I wasn't there.
Right. Now, who was telling you this?
My stepmom.
Stepmom was telling you about that call? Okay.
Yeah, and then Jen said that my stepmom told her, she said, "Well, I'll call you back in like an hour and a half to see how she's doing and everything. Well, it was a few minutes after that, she called my brother's girlfriend, and she left a message on the answering machine saying that she needed to get up here, she needed her ASAP or something, and that she needed her help up there. So she jumped out of bed, got dressed, and rushed up there. And between amongst them, she called my brother's girlfriend called my stepmom back and said, "You need to get down here now, it's an emergency." I don't know if they called 911 then or what all was going on, but then my stepmom came down and she picked her up and held her and comforted her, and she said, "We'll call 911, get an ambulance here right now." And Jen said she kept repeating herself, getting it done, and somewhere along the line there they called 911, and then it came, and then I found out that the ambulance was there or coming there or whatever.
Okay. While you were at the Clearfield Hospital then, did you and Jen talk about this at all? Did you ask her, what happened?
Not too much, because right when we were done explaining it to the lady that we talked to, we went back and I seen them doing whatever they were, sucking the mucus and everything out of her, and I just lost it. I couldn't talk to pretty much anybody. And then Jen went out with my brother's girlfriend outside to see if she was alright or whatever, and I talked to the ladies there, gave them the information and everything, and I went out and talked to my mom, let her know what was happening, and I went right back in there with the baby to make sure I was there beside her.
Okay. So then you and Jen didn't really talk about it there in Clearfield at all?
Not a whole lot, no.
Now you guys then, when they flew her down to Pittsburgh, did you drive down to Pittsburgh Hospital? And who went with you?
Me, Jen, and my mom.
Okay.
Notice how Detective Dave Patrick never questions Cody about hiding his knives and his drugs before heading to Pittsburgh. Wonder why he never brought that up.
Did you talk to Jen about it then at all?
Not too often. We didn't discuss anything that happened, because we told two people at I think it was two people at Clearfield what happened. There's bits and pieces about what happened. I asked her, "Were you sure nothing serious happened where she didn't look funny when you got her up?" And she said no, she looked normal besides being pale and sick. And it was pretty much, other than that, it was a quiet ride the whole way down, because we're all just scared to death.
Right. What about while you're in Pittsburgh then? The 2 days you're there, or how long was Jen there with you?
She was there Friday night, and then Saturday afternoon we told the nurses she needed to go, because that's when they came in. And Friday or Saturday morning, I think it was. Right, it was Friday night, one of the two. Them days blurred together. They brought in the monitor and showed us all the pictures, everything, and they explained what happened. And I just didn't really think nothing of it, and hoped and prayed to God that it wasn't that. Then Saturday around noonish, or a little before noon, my dad and my stepmom headed down, and they came down, and we discussed amongst us that we felt that she needed to leave.
When they told you what happened, what did they tell you happened?
They said that there was serious head trauma where she hit hard. She didn't really. I asked them, I said, "Well, could she have fallen and hit something?" And they said, "No, this isn't a fall and hit, because she said if she would have fell and hit, there would have been blood on one side of the head, and there was blood the whole way around the head and the back and all over." She said this was shaken baby, someone shook her or abused her real hard. And I said, "Well, could it happen maybe 2 weeks ago or some time ago, and it just slowly bled off and it caused her to faint then?" She says, "No, whatever caused this happened from the time she got up till the time she fainted." Because we explained Friday night when we got down there, we explained it to a social worker. And then the next day, the same lady that brought the monitor, and we explained it to her again. And then she brought the monitor in and showed us pictures, let us know what they came to conclusion on.
Okay. So at that point then, what did you think happened?
At that point, I had so many thoughts running through my head, I wasn't sure exactly what happened. I still had belief that maybe she fell and they were missing something. But then I talked to my dad and my stepmom, and they got down there and they said that it was the best hospital. They probably know what they're talking about. And we assumed, we're not pointing fingers, but we assumed maybe they were right and maybe she did do it or accidentally on purpose, whatever. But we felt at that time she needed to go, and we let the family be alone.
So did you never ask Jen then if she did that?
Well, ever since we found the lady came in, she really didn't say too much at all to anybody. Like, they made us leave the room when they did a eye test on her or something, because they said the light it hurt our eyes or whatever. We went out and sat in the waiting room. She sat by herself away from everybody and didn't say nothing to anybody.
Not even you?
No. She sat like I was...
So you didn't ask her then at all?
No, because I was...
Did she did anything to Sophia?
Like I was in so much shock that I didn't want to hear. If she would have said, yeah, I did it, I didn't want to hear that and have to make it 10 times harder on me.
Okay.
So I was letting the doctors come to a final conclusion. I didn't want to jump the gun and maybe they missed something and start a fight between us or accuse anybody of doing something when they're not in the wrong. So I just played it off until my dad and them got there and we discussed it. And
okay. At any time, Cody, on Friday morning before you went to work, did you pick Sophia up out of her crib?
No, because I
you just checked on her. You never picked her up at all?
No, because I don't want to wake her up.
Okay.
I know if she gets up, she's pretty much up.
So when you left that morning, she was in her crib, playpen, sleeping,
Yeah.
and you left for work.
Yeah.
And you didn't see her again until she was in the hospital.
Yeah.
What about on Thursday? After you got home from work, from Thursday on until she went to sleep that night, were there any times there where you had picked her up? Maybe she fell, maybe you held her and you dropped her?
No.
Did you shake her at all?
No.
Even playing around? Just a little shake, anything like that? Did you play around with her at all? Do you wrestle around with her at all?
I don't think we did on Thursday because I knew she was sick, and I don't think, because I didn't want to get her too roused up and then her puke all over the place again, because every time she puked, she'd cry. I felt bad for her. We were in the middle of my floor, and she started puking. She was like scared, trying to hold it in. I just told her, let it out. I can clean the carpets and everything.
And did she cry when she threw up?
Once I told her to let it out, she'd let it go, and then she'd look at me and start crying again. I'd say, it's all right, don't worry about it, let it out. Like, I'd give her a little pat on the back, help her if she needed to breathe or whatever. Then she'd spit again, or however many times it took. And then when she was done, we'd get her all cleaned up and new clothes on her. And then she'd be fine. She'd quit crying when she was done.
Okay, your mom, stepmom, your dad, do you know how they all disciplined her?
My dad and them don't need to, because for some reason my dad has authority up there, and because he has a little thing, he says, you want Pap kick your big ass?
Yeah, well, whatever he said.
Say, you want Pap kick your big ass? And she just squint and say no. He says, well, I'm going to put you on your chair. And she'd say no. He said, well, you be good. She'd straighten up right there. He said he never even had to raise a hand, raise his voice, or anything to her. And she'd listen. And that's all they ever had to do was tell her that she's going to go in the chair. She didn't want to be in that chair. I mean, it was just a little plastic baby chair.
Mm-hmm. What about your mom's house?
No, she never hit her or anything. Like, if she was on timeout, she'd put her on the couch beside her. As far as what she tells me and everything, because I'm not there physically overhead watching the whole time.
Did you ever see anybody abuse Sophia?
No.
Physically or mentally yell at her, that just outrageous, just out of control with her?
No.
And did you ever do that? Did you ever lose it and just
not
get out?
Like, I raised my voice and I that way she like, okay, he's being serious now. Because I'd take it step by step. If I'd start out with a mellow voice and say, that's enough. And if she'd keep going, I'd get a little bit louder and louder. And to the point where I felt it was loud enough, but it wasn't screaming at her. I'd say, alright, you're going on timeout. And then most times she'd quit. Something about timeout, she didn't like just sitting there when she had to sit there.
So that was usually enough punishment for her?
That was enough punishment to get her straightened up to where she knew, hey, they're being serious now.
Okay, so what do you think happened to Sophia?
I honestly, I don't know what to think. I got so many thoughts what could have happened, but what really did happen, I don't know.
If you had to make a guess right now, what would you say happened to her?
I'd take this, well, Thursday night, whenever Sophia was gone, me and Jen did get in an argument. She said how stressed out she was, and she made some crazy remarks about herself. And I told her, I said, well, if you have enough and you don't want to be here, I said, you can leave.
What kind of crazy remarks? What did she say? Do you remember?
Like she was saying she was wanting to rip her hair out and kill herself and do all that. And it's like, well, if you're going to do that, I told her, I said, you can just leave right now. I said, my dad will watch her overnight again like he used to, and I'll take her back to the babysitter. And she
Was this when you got back from the hospital?
This is before when Sophia was gone.
Okay, so Sophia's at your dad's house.
Yeah, with him at his house, taxidermy.
Okay, and you two are having this argument. What did this start? Why did this start? What did the argument start over?
Well, those my friends were there, and she accused me, oh, you're not talking to me, you always do that, or whatever. It's like, well, you weren't saying anything to anybody. I mean, we're all talking. You can talk too. And then she got mad and went back to the bedroom, and I said, well, and I walked back there to see what was going on. Maybe she wanted to talk in private. I said, well, what's going on? She's like, well, I'm just going to be back here if you're going to be out there talking to them and everything. I said, well, I'm not going to ignore my friends. They're my friends. I'm going to talk to everybody. I said, well, if you quit getting mad or whatever, I said, you can come out and talk to us. And that's when she exploded, when she came back out and said all that crazy stuff about her ripping her hair out, killing herself, and all that. And I said, that's enough for me right now. I said, you can pack your stuff and you can go home, go back to your parents' house right now. I said, I don't need that. And she says, no, I'm not leaving. And she calmed down and it was fine the rest of the night.
The recollections of Thursday, between the hours of 1 p.m. and let's say 6 p.m., are quite different. I'm leaning towards believing the sober one.
Okay, so back to my question. What do you think happened?
After that, hearing that myself, compared to what she used to be like, I'm thinking maybe when she said she yelled at her for peeing in her diaper, and when she started crying, because that was another thing she said, she's always crying for me and she don't cry for you. And I'm thinking maybe she was crying more than what she said she was, and maybe just had enough, or slammed her on the couch, or sat her down a little too hard, or something that just shook her enough to where...
You think she shook her?
I don't know if she sat there and... Me personally, I couldn't see her doing it, but like my stepmom told us, you don't know people as well as you think you do. You never know what anybody's capable of. And with that being said, it's like, well, there is that possibility. Maybe she did just snap and go on it.
Do you think Jen would ever hurt Sophia intentionally?
I couldn't see her hurting her intentionally, no. I gotta be honest, I couldn't see her doing it intentionally.
But if she was mad enough at you or the situation...
Maybe if she was mad enough like at me from the prior night, she was just holding it in so I didn't make her leave or whatever. And then with her crying, because she had said the dog woke her up early in the morning before she wanted to get up whenever I came and got my truck. I think maybe between them three things, maybe she just completely lost it, and that was it.
Did she ever say anything to you prior to that night about wanting to go back home or leaving there and not wanting to watch Sophia anymore?
No. Like when she first started like staying overnight every once in a while at the house, she wanted to go back to her parents' house just to visit and everything. But then they had altercations back and forth, and besides this situation a long time ago before she actually moved in. And then after they had that major altercation, she never said she wanted to go back or anything. She just wanted to be at the house, my house.
Yeah, so she never told you she wanted to go move back home with her parents?
No.
She was happy being there with you?
She said she wanted to be there. She liked being there.
Did she ever say that she didn't want to watch Sophia anymore, or that
No,
that was getting to be too much?
No, because we talked to my dad before. And he said if you ever guys need a break or you feel like you just had enough to where you want to pull your hair out, he said bring her up. We'll watch her. No questions asked. He said, and if you don't have a ride and he's working, he said give us a call. We'll come down and get her. They're only up on top of the hill away from us. We're only, 400 yards away? He said, we'll be right down to get her without no questions asked or anything. He said, we know it's tough with a 2-year-old and everything. You need a break every now and then. And he said, no matter how mad you get or whatever, he said, don't shake her, slam her, or do anything. And that's when he proceeded to say, if you want to just pull your hair out or whatever, let them know and they'll come get her, take her up and watch her.
Did you or Jen ever tell your dad or stepmom that you get frustrated sometimes with her?
There's times that, yeah, I have said, hey, so why don't you take her for me? I need a break. And they'd watch her for a day or so, and I'd get her back. Just enough to, keep my mind clear and relax a little bit. Just typical break from parenthood, I guess you'd say.
Okay. Was that when Jen was there with you?
There was times when she was there and before she was there. They were there to support me 100% the whole way since she came in with us back in February.
And when you would take Sophia to your dad's for a day or two, what would you do then? You'd go home, and what would you do?
I'd go home, relax, watch TV.
You ever hang out with your buddies and go to the club?
There's times I did have friends, like one time they came over. I'd go to since Jen's been home, since Jen moved in with me, no. I never went and hung out with friends or anybody. There's 1 or 2 times they came over and that was it. But other than that, nothing.
Okay, so you never just took her up there and went out partying with your buddies or anything?
No.
Just to get away and relax?
Nope. Like before Jen moved in, when my dad would watch her overnight for me and everything while I was at work, there's times I did go out and hang out with friends at night.
And have a couple beers. Did you drink alcohol?
Not regularly, just occasionally.
Okay.
But that was before she came, before I even started talking to her and everything.
Was there ever a time where you thought, well, I wish I didn't have Sophia, I wish she could just go and stay with my mom or my dad and stay with them all the time, and I'd just go visit her?
No. I loved having her at the house. She made me smile every day.
Okay.
And that's one thing now that I can't get back.
When did I understand that initially when she was born, were you not around and you didn't know that it was your child?
Well, I knew it was mine. I was paying child support.
Oh, you were? Okay.
But her mother wouldn't let me or my family have anything to do with her until I seen her one time and right after she was born in February of 2012, or maybe the end of January, right at the beginning and January, one of the weekends for one day. It was a Saturday. And then after that, I didn't see her till, I can't think of it. My family got her because I was incarcerated in 2012.
Okay.
But
How long were you in jail for?
a year.
A whole year?
Yeah. And
When did you get out of jail?
February 5th.
Of 2013.
And then, like, the 14th, she dropped her off and never came back. Her mother.
Oh, she didn't want anything to do with her then?
Well,
or-
see, whenever I was incarcerated, I made it because she took me for custody, and they fiddled me around, and I didn't get to go to the court hearing to get my visitation rights or whatever. I knew being there I couldn't have custody, and I had legal documents where my family got her 2 weekends a month. It didn't matter what 2 weekends, it was just negotiable between Sophie's mom and my family, my stepmom mainly, because she was the main one I put, because she'd be up there most of the time. But between them and my mom, they got her every 2 weekends, and then as time went on, they got her more and more and more. There's times my stepmom had her for like 15 days or 21 days or something like that straight. I'm thinking it was 14 or 15 days, 16, something like that, where it was just straight.
And was that at the time when you were in jail?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you get out of jail, what happened?
I seen her that weekend, so I got out on a Tuesday, I want to say. Yeah, I want to say it was a Tuesday. I got out, and then that Friday night, she let my mom have... My mom went and picked the baby up, and I went in there Friday night, and I stayed till probably close to 10:30. Then I went home for work the next morning. Then I went back in the next day, and I stayed with her in there. Then she went back with her mother's on Sunday night. I think it was Sunday night, Monday. Yeah, it was Sunday night, so my mom had work Monday. And then I think we got her that very next weekend, or maybe it was Wednesday or something, or Wednesday or Thursday. She said, "Hey, can you watch her for me?" We obviously said, "Of course we will." And then after that, she just poof.
She never came back.
Never came back, hardly ever called.
Did she call and tell you where she was or what she was doing?
We had no idea where she was, who she was with. We did hear from, what you call hearsay, I guess, from people around her. It'd be my daughter's grandmother, the baby's mom's mom. She said that she's been bounced around from house to house, friend's couch to friend's couch, and just pretty much living on the streets because she didn't want to settle down, and she didn't get along with her mom at the time, and they were back and forth, and she kicked her out and everything.
Okay.
Like, she called a few times at first, but then it just got very more rare.
Did she ever see Sophia again?
When we were at the hospital, she did tell my brother's girlfriend she did see her around fair time. But I did let her mother see her like once a month or every couple weeks. That way they were still familiar, excuse me, she was still familiar with that side of her family too.
Right.
And I had no intentions in keeping her away from them or anything.
Did you take her to her grandmother's house?
I'd meet them halfway because they lived up in Ridgeway.
Oh, would she go and stay with them then?
They'd stay for the weekend, but that was
Okay.
early into the, whenever I got out, like April, May, right around then. Then she got her the fair week, the weekend of the fair, like the last Saturday. And then that was the last time they got her.
How come? Why didn't she go up there anymore?
She just never got a hold of me, or we had stuff going on the weekends. They wanted her, and I don't know if that made them mad or what, but they just never really called back again to try to get her. And I was open to letting her go up there because I know they wouldn't hurt her or anything.
You think anybody would hurt her?
I can't see anybody that we know that we let her around that would hurt her.
Accidentally?
Unless it was up there whenever I wasn't around, but...
That was back in August, beginning of August.
That was months ago, like August.
Did she ever come back from there with any injuries?
No.
How about from your mom's house?
Nope. Because if she would have... She bumps into the couch, my mom's calling me freaking out because she's paranoid that something might happen. It's like, Mom, it's a couch, it's soft, she's alright. She didn't hit her head or nothing, did she? No. Well,
She ever come back from your dad's house with any injuries, bruises,
No.
or anything like that?
Nope.
No.
That's our little angel. Nobody would ever hurt her that we know of would ever hurt her.
Okay. Okay, Cody, do you have any questions for me about anything?
Not that I can think of this. No.
Okay, we're going to end this interview then. Time is now 16:46.
Okay, so now you've heard parts of Jennifer and Cody being interviewed at the Clearfield Hospital by Pennsylvania State Troopers David Patrick and Mary Jane McGinnis on November 15, 2013. You heard Jennifer being interrogated by Pennsylvania State Troopers Mary McGinnis and Kimberly Ronan at the police barracks on November 17, 18, and 20 of 2013. And then you heard Cody interviewed by Pennsylvania State Trooper David Patrick at the police barracks on November 20th, 2013. The difference in techniques used by the troopers is very noticeable. Tunnel vision on Jennifer MEDZIE from the very beginning, in my opinion. 8.5 hours versus 1 hour. These three troopers are a disgrace to law enforcement, in my opinion. I don't know how they sleep at night, knowing what they put this sweet 18-year-old girl through. The lies, the manipulation, the bullying. It's disgusting, and they need to be exposed and held accountable. Next time on Can't Stop, Won't Stop Warriors, I will go through a little bit of the police report. And I'm also going to give you a deep dive into the comparison between Jennifer versus Cody's experiences at the Clearfield Police Barracks. So many people failed Sophia Margaret Hoffman. But you guys, as of this episode, Jennifer MEDZIE is the only person to be convicted for this sweet baby girl's death. She is currently sitting in SCI Cambridge, serving a 20 to 40 year sentence for third-degree murder. Thank you for your support, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to Can't Stop, Won't Stop Warriors. It's a free and easy way to help get more awareness about the corruption happening throughout this country. I appreciate you.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again.